So every day I spend my time drinking wine, feeling fine, waiting here to find the sign that I should take it slow.
So really what we do here is just kind of
I've been watching some
Cool,
stuff.
cool.
I've watched all of them.
Yeah,
Today
awesome.
I hadn't seen the one with Travis yet, but I saw it today.
yeah, I love that one.
Well, I didn't see it. I
love
heard
Travis.
it 'cause I was driving. But
Yeah, I feel like Travis is just such a
Travis is
dude. He's
cool
just
though.
a bright figure. Like he's always positive. Like even when that dude's down, like he's
well, and I love Tom too. Tom's great,
Yeah.
and I like Jake. So
Oh, yeah,
we've
yeah.
had some good dudes on. So.
yeah. This has been the Struggle Street sessions have been one of those things that I kind of came up with it when I was kind of down and I was dealing with some shit, and I was like, man, I bet other people are dealing with this shit too. And then I was like, me and my buddy Steve, who was one of my guests, so we share a shop together, and we go out there on Tuesdays and we both talk about like what we've been going through this week. And I was like, man, it'd be cool to get other guys together and do this. So
Right.
And you're one from the very instant. You're like, hey man, I would love to sit down and talk.
yeah.
So I'm excited we finally got to
Oh,
put
yeah.
this together, man.
Yeah, because everybody's got their struggles and
Yeah.
stuff. I've definitely had mine. Shoot, even now I'm going through struggles.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always gonna happen.
Oh, dude, it's always so. Real quick for everybody out there, I'm here with Justin from the Pop Punk Pizza Party podcast.
What's up, y'all?
So they're on the Barn Network along with the Tippy Joe Show and then our Struggle Street sessions. And
Yeah.
we've known each other now for
Close to a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been
And it's
around a
cool
year.
because I feel like we started, dude, whenever you guys came along, like I was so excited because you were excited. Like you really kind of got me excited about stuff because I was like, man, this kid's excited.
Yeah. I get excited pretty easy.
Yeah,
So.
I love that, man. I love that. So what we like to do on the Struggle Street sessions is kind of talk about kind of some of the things we go through in life and let people out there know that, hey, you might be going through this or this, but you're not alone. Everybody's kind of going through those things.
Exactly.
So what are a couple things you might have struggled with in your life, man?
Oh man.
We can start shallow and go deep. We can start wherever you want.
Well, I mean, I've gone through a lot of anxiety and depression. I still go through anxiety and depression. I'm not fully diagnosed on everything, but there's definitely been doctors that have said, hey, you should be tested for ADHD or, BPD or, whatever it is, because moods change a lot and
Yeah.
I'm energetic and don't keep my attention.
Yeah.
So that combined with the cocktail of depression and anxiety is a fun struggle.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a-
that's what I think a lot of people don't understand sometimes, the depression that men go through, man. Like it gets dark sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's what I think most of the men that I know in life deal with it and they struggle through it. And I mean, everybody, you have to put on that tough exterior shell, but
See, with me, I think it's been a few years, I think, that I've been a lot more open, and some of my friends will call me more sensitive or a nice guy or, less masculine, basically, because I'm kind of authentically myself all the time, or at least I try to be. Even if I'm going through a tough mood, like, I'll fake it, but I'll be like, hey, I won't necessarily fake it. I'll be in a good mood for the party, but I'm going to be like, to my close friends and stuff close by, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm kind of going through this right now. So, if I got to dip out or I got to go do this or that, I am taking care of myself.
you put on that mask for the outward performance, but
Yeah, and I think I've finally, over the years, everybody has toxic friends and stuff that they grow up with and things like that. And I think over the past year, especially, I've found a really good support group. I've got a couple of people that know more about me than anybody else does. That, I'll tell them everything.
Dude, that's what I think. I think that's undervalued in men's lives. Like your friends are undervalued.
Yeah.
And I think whenever you realize like, hey, these guys, like, I love these dudes love me, like, we back each other up, we're there to support each other. I think whenever you find those people, because it is hard, like you were talking about having toxic friends, and it's hard to realize it when you're in it.
You see, there's actually a song that I wrote, and the lyrics go, okay, I'll go back to it. I'll get back to it because I'm trying to remember while I'm trying to talk at the same time. So, pressure, anxiety, fun.
As soon as the camera's on.
Yeah, as soon as the camera's on. Damn, now I'm thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, whatever. Basically, about all my friends left me at the altar. I guess they found some better offers. So like that's part of the song, and I think that's basically what sums it up. You have all your friends when you're in school and stuff, and then you go out and I got married before all of my friends, but like I didn't stop being a friend, and I was still actively doing stuff, but all of my other friends, they all started getting married a couple years later, and then it's like they all disappeared. It was like, man, I did this. I was able to keep going, and y'all can't. Like, what?
That's what I think. It's a lot of times. So I'm the same. So I had my first son was born when I was 18, 19 years old. So like I've had a family from a very young age, and I do feel like in those situations, oftentimes your friends take a back seat to what your priorities are and what you've got going on.
I think one thing with me is like, when you see me in person and I'm being the life of the party that I am and stuff, a lot of people, or crack my crazy jokes and stuff like that, a lot of people will say that I'm a child and things like that. But as far as an overall personality, I think I'm a little bit more mature than most people my age. And that's why all of my friends that I had before that were my age, not friends anymore. All of my friends are like your age. They're like 6 to 10 years older than me.
Old as fuck. Oh, sorry.
Because and a lot of people think that I'm like 35, 36, 37, like my friends are, because that's who I hang out with, and I don't look young. But I'm almost 29. So I'm not. I'm still in my 20s.
Still in my 20s.
Still in my 20s, man. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you find? Have you? That's a good kind of thing to touch on there. Do you feel like your like depression and stuff? Have you dealt with that? I'm assuming from an early age.
Oh, absolutely.
Has that changed through the years, or do you feel like it's been about the same?
So okay, I can take it back. Okay. So I'll take it back. So back to, I think from a very early age, I was experiencing depression, and I think it's because I noticed things more than I think people my age did. Like I noticed emotions and things like that. I've always been empathetic and very aware of my own emotions too. Now sometimes I might act crazy like everybody else, and not have control over my emotions. I'm getting better.
As long as you're working on it, right?
Right. But I'm still always aware of how I'm feeling. I don't usually have one of those. Not saying that I don't, but most of the time I don't have that feeling of, I don't know what I'm feeling right now, because you go through stages like that, and it has happened, but I don't really go through that much. Usually I'm like, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm depressed, or, I'm happy, I'm excited, this is great, or, whatever it is, I'm feeling it, and I know I'm aware of it. But so at a very young age, I had noticed things like my, of course, parents were always fighting and stuff. They divorced when I was 14. Very toxic couple. I love my parents now. Oh, I mean, I've always loved my parents, but I have a great relationship with both of my parents now. I didn't as a growing up as a child. A couple years ago, I definitely didn't. And so that has definitely changed. But, like the divorce growing up and stuff like that, I had an older brother, 2 years older than me, and I was the black sheep of the entire family. And my mother has a very big family, and my dad has a moderate-sized family. And for the most part, it always felt like my brother was like the golden child, and I was just like, so I kind of had one of those whiny little brother attitudes, because my brother didn't do anything special and was the golden child, and like even like my aunt on my mom's side, like one of my many aunts on my mom's side, would still calls my brother like her her son she never had,
I
and
understand.
like she completely denies me. So like that's how bad it was. Like with that entire side of the family mostly. So it's like, when you're a kid and you're trying to develop who you are,
that affects you.
I'm the black sheep enough as it is, and then you're just like getting all that. So I notice things, and that carries depression with you, and then especially going into my teenage years, I went through some really rough stuff. I had a suicide attempt when I was 16. Luckily, a friend knew what was going on and pulled me out of that. I was on the edge.
Oh man!
I climbed an electrical tower.
Oh my gosh!
And I was ready to jump.
Oh man!
But it was actually, I don't remember it happening. It was almost like a chemical thing, from what I was told. Like a chemical imbalance. Like it was like I wanted it to happen, but I wasn't aware that I was making
just
it happen.
kind of blocked it out, but your brain took over and just kind of made it happen.
And so prior to those experiences, so of course, when I was 14, had the divorce. I was the one that initiated that between my parents. I found out things that shouldn't have been found out, and then told the other parent, and then I was like, hey, you guys got to stop this. Like you're making everybody's lives worse than what they are.
And as a 14-year-old, that's a hard thing to take that kind of weight on your shoulders.
Right. Which it happened right afterwards. But, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I lost my best friend, one of my best friends. He passed away from a heart attack at 16.
Oh my gosh.
So I was almost 17 whenever this attempt happened, but that was a big year for me. I also
just felt like everything was kind of piling on top of it.
I had a teenage pregnancy that turned miscarriage. And that was like my first real love. And so I mean losing the child was definitely the hardest thing I ever went through, even after losing my best friend. And so she we dealt with things in different ways. We were, of course, kids still too. So she ended up
kids in a very adult situation, like that's gonna take a hard toll.
I chose to be sad and a little bit of a dickhead. I don't know if I can say that on this podcast. I'm sorry.
You can say that.
I don't know.
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Right. I know that usually on the other podcast, but I don't. I haven't been on this one.
Yeah,
but,
man. You say whatever the hell you want.
So I chose to be a dickhead sometimes, and also just be really sad and depressed, because it's a very sad and depressing thing. She chose to take the path of other men and cheating and drugs. So that took a whole toll on me too, because I had to let go because there was nothing I could do at that point, and I was still grieving myself too. So I had to take care of myself at one point, and then all of that stress led me to a stroke at 16.
Oh my gosh, that is insane.
I had a stroke. And I was hospitalized for about a week and a half. It really wasn't too long. It wasn't like a major stroke. Luckily.
Sounds like you had a lot of shit going on. So
absolutely. I mean, and and there is other things like music was the big thing for me. It still is to this day. The band that I was in at that time, we had some issues, and I ended up getting booted out for whatever reason. I can't even remember what the reason was. I don't even remember why I was mad at whoever I was mad at. But so that hurt me a lot, and all kinds of different things. And then finally it led to being at the Ledge, and that was it was like I snapped at that point. Like after my friend found me and was like talking me down, like it was like a snap. It was like I woke up from a dream. That's what I'm saying. Gosh. I don't remember it. And so I ended up going to this institution at 16 years old, and that's scary as fuck. And so I sat there for about 2 weeks during the school year.
And how you were 16 at this point? Or
okay. I was 16. Yeah, all this was in the same year. Or close enough to the same year that I only remember it being 16. 16 was hell for me. It was
sounds
not
like it, man.
It was a not so sweet
like
16. And so I mean the turning point for me was actually being in the psych facility, but it wasn't for the things that you would necessarily think. It wasn't like the therapy or medications that they were forcing me to take or anything like that. It was the time that I had to myself, and seeing everybody else that was in there. I looked at everybody and I learned about their past and their stuff, and like, you know, this person has a way worse upbringing than me, or this person, you know, is trying to fight everybody, or you know, or is biting this person or that person or whatever, and I'm like, I don't belong here at all. I was like, how did I get here? You know, how did I get to this point?
Start kind of rethinking things,
and you know, so I took all of those very traumatic things and I turned them into hating the world, and hating everybody
as a
around.
lot of teenagers do,
and hating the world, and hating everyone around me, and hating myself. And so that kind of made me look at myself and realize, you never hated the world to begin with. Like, you love the world. Like, I love being alive. Here's one of the quotes that I love. I don't even know who came up with it, or if I just made it up. I don't know. It probably came from somebody or something similar.
Like, but if not, I'll take credit for it.
Right. But one of my favorite things that I say is, I love the world and the people in it, but I hate how they make me feel sometimes.
That is 100%. Like, I have felt that so many times.
And after that point, I think that was whenever I finally discovered that I can kind of have control. I let my emotions take over, and I didn't realize that you're the one that's making you feel that way. You know, yeah, sure, it's this thing that you should react to, or you know, you shouldn't bottle it up, and you shouldn't blame anybody or this or that. But you're the one that chooses whether you're happy or not. Nobody else chooses your happiness. You know, the things you go through don't choose your happiness. You choose your happiness. And so I think I've done a really good job. Since, you know, it's been 12 years since then. I'm an adult. I have 2 children, and I went through a divorce, and, you know, I've worked 90 hours a week before. I've worked 50 hours a week. I've worked the regular 40-hour week. I've worked 3 jobs. You know, I've done that. And
you've lived some life, gained some experience.
A lot of things. And, you know, I still struggle with things. Sometimes I have bad days. And I don't think I really have periods throughout the year, because I know some people go through like those phases where it's like a month or a couple months or something. I don't really have phases like that. I have a day or 2 at a time, and then it'll be a good day, and then maybe a couple days down the road it'll be a bad day, or maybe it's just one bad day the entire month. I don't know. But it's very sporadic. But I think I've been really good at just pushing myself to. I kind of use affirmations on myself quite a bit, and you know, with how energetic and stuff I am, I have a lot of energy for somebody my age. I've always had a lot of energy.
You have a lot of energy for anybody's age.
Thanks, buddy. And I just started using that as positivity. You know, taking you know, being positive and trying to spread positivity, and you know, I just like to have a good time, and I like to make everybody else have a good time.
That's the thing I always see in you. Like, every time we've ever been in the same area or anything, I always do feel like you're a very positive energy, and I feel like even in times where you're stressed or maybe down, like, I feel like you put effort into being that positive energy.
And that's another thing too that I think the whole world falls short of in relationships of all kinds, you know, not just love relationships, but relationships of all time is effort. You know, and the same with your own mental health is effort. It takes effort. And I know that, you know, depression and anxiety and things can make it hard for you to put in effort. But if you actually put in the effort, you're gonna see results every single time. And, you know, I people ask me, why do you stay so busy? Because, like, for example, I haven't had a day off or a night off of anything all week. And I haven't had my kids all week. The reason being is because I don't do well with silence. I don't like the silence.
Sometimes your mind goes to dark places when you're left alone. Like,
and I think that's one issue with, you know, I think it's like a trauma response to from the childhood and stuff, is, you know, from different things, is I don't do well being alone. I kind of finally started being comfortable with that this year, because I got my own place after my divorce and everything. I stayed at my dad's for a while, and then I finally got my own place this year. And I think I've slowly been getting better and better. So
see, it's funny because I'm one of those people, like, I love my alone time. Like, I think through things, but I get where you're coming from, because, like, sometimes I'm a huge advocate for marijuana, for mental health, but sometimes I get too high, and then I'm like, God, Kyle, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Well, see,
and then you go to those dark places.
I don't smoke a whole lot of weed now, and it's not that I have an issue with it. It's because, like, whenever I was going through the darkest times of my life, that's what I turned to.
That's understandable.
And it's not like it never helped me, but it's not like it made things worse. But that's what I turned to.
Yeah.
And if I use that as my scapegoat, then who's really winning? Because here's the thing, I feel like I've done a really damn good job over the last 12 years of turning myself around. Even if I have my bad days, I do have some extremely bad days, and there are times where I text my friends, I'm like, I'm not okay. You know, I want you to know that I'm not thinking of hurting myself or anything like this, but I am not okay. And there's times where I'm like, I need help.
But the fact that you have friends that you can reach out and do that, that's awesome, man.
Right. Well,
like,
I mean,
and
I try.
the fact that you're introspective enough to be able to do that, because that's where I think, that's what I like about everybody I've had on the podcast, and that's one thing I thought about when having you on, is I like talking to people who are very introspective, because you see, okay, I'm going through this, but maybe it's because of this, and once I get through it, I'm going to be okay. Right. But it's nice that you have that inner...
Yeah, and see, I turned that around over 12 years of suicide attempt, and I don't take medication. I not that I'm advocating against taking it. If
you gotta do what's right for you.
Take your medication if it works.
Yeah.
For me, it did not. When I was a teenager, and I have tried as an adult too, and it still was the same. It slows me down usually. Slows me down, and it feels like I'm standing. I describe it as, it feels like I'm standing over myself, watching myself be somebody I am not, and it scares the hell out of me.
I understand.
And so I don't really do medication. Therapy, I've thought about doing, but healthcare fails me, and
everyone else.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to go through BetterHelp and stuff, but who can afford it?
Yeah. This episode brought to you by BetterHelp.com/The Barn. Get 10% off.
At checkout.
At checkout.
So I have done all this pretty much on my own, besides, like my support system and, doing the things that I do. And I do stay very busy, and I'm very passionate about a lot of things. Because I do the music, and that is my biggest outlet. But then discovering podcasting this past year has really been a big one for me. And
that's what I like about the podcasting. To me, the podcasting is kind of like little therapy sessions. Like, it's fun just to get around with your friends.
This is fun, and this is great. And, I get to do it every week with my best friends, even if they shit on me the whole time.
And they do.
But, I mean, I get to go, guest on other podcasts like this one and a few other ones I've done. And I've discovered a lot more about myself too by doing so. I realized, because whenever I started podcasting, so the thing that kind of turned my life around 12 years ago, along with, the epiphanies I was having, was music. Music kept me going. Music has always kept me going. And after my divorce, towards the end of my divorce, I was going through a lot even before that. And I felt like music had kind of turned its back on me, because music had always had my back. And so I stopped writing songs. I stopped playing. I didn't pick up my guitars or anything for close to a year. I wasn't singing much anymore, and I sing every day.
Oh, I can imagine.
Absolutely every day. Singing is therapy for me. I'll get to that, though. And there was a point where I stopped listening to music too. I was like, I'm not enjoying myself anymore. This doesn't do it for me, and I don't know what it was. But I wasn't listening to music. I wasn't singing. I wasn't playing. I wasn't writing. I wasn't doing anything that had to do with music. It felt like it turned its back on me. So I turned my back on it. So I started listening to podcasts and radio when I was working. And I was like, I really love this. And I had probably like 5 favorite podcasts, and then I listen to the Rizzuto Show every morning during work. And I was like, I really want to try this. And well, I played a show after the Underground, not long after the Underground opened up, and the only reason I did it was because I was asked to, and I was like, well, nobody's asked me to play in years, so I guess I'll pick up the guitar and do it. And then I played, and Chad had been a family friend before, but me and Chad haven't really. Chad's, almost.
Old as fuck.
He's over 10 years older than me. We'll just say that. I don't know how old Chad is, honestly.
Shit, brother. No, I'm just kidding. He's like 42.
Yeah, 40. So he's a lot older than me. He's like 12.
I'm wrong.
He's like
Sorry,
12, 13, 14 years older than me.
Yeah.
So we don't talk that much, but we know each other.
Yeah.
And I grew up knowing him. But he saw a video that my mom posted, which it's funny because everybody shits on my mom on the podcast
Except
too.
for me, I don't. Every time I'm on there, I'm like, your mom seems like a nice lady. Come watch the Tippy Joe show.
And me and her have had a rocky relationship before too, but she's always been supportive, especially the past couple of years of like music and stuff. So she was there, she took video and stuff like that, and she posted it, and Chad saw it, and Chad shoot me a message, and he's like, hey, do you want to do something? Do you want to like sing or something? Like I think he wanted me to perform live or something, and I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. But I wanted to do podcasting.
Yeah.
And so Tony Willingham from Beyond FM in the city is the Best of Everything STL internet radio station. I've known about him too, and I was thinking about reaching out to him, and I ended up reaching out to him and Chad at the same time because Chad had been reaching out to me about the music thing. And so I ended up thinking of an idea. I was like, I want to get these two in a room. So I got them in a room. And that same day, I ended up becoming a part of Beyond FM, and I was going up every Thursday, and I was on the live show.
Oh, nice. That's
and
awesome.
That was whenever I started doing the Midwest mixtape with Chad and stuff, and it was right around the time that Notes for Hope, which is about to come up again, was going on, and we were like, let's do some interviews for it, and I ended up doing all of them in like 6 weeks. And there was a lot of bands. I was doing like two or three interviews a week for
I remember
6 weeks
I remember
straight.
when you first
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. And so it just, I and then eventually I started doing the podcast after Notes for Hope. Like me and Keith came together, we were talking about it. I was becoming friends with Chris, and I already knew Todd, and me and Todd were starting to work on music, and then I was like, hey, join the podcast, and then we came together and we did it. But besides the point of that I discovered podcasting and radio and stuff while I turned my back on music because I felt like music turned its back on me. And then by doing that, I fell in love with music.
It all comes full circle.
And having those things even now I'm discovering new things. Like I have a big love for comedy. And I'm actually writing a comedy set.
Nice. Dude, I've been talking about wanting to do that.
I'm gonna go one of these days on a Thursday, and I'm gonna go do
let me know when.
a stand-up set.
Let me know
it's
when.
gonna be fun.
Dude, that's what I feel like. So you talking about feeling like music turned your back on you, I feel like that's honestly what depression does to people. It makes you take the things that you love most and just push it away. So, and I think realizing coming out of the depression, that's probably, and doing the podcast stuff, that was like, oh man, I love music. Like it's been a whole part of your entire life. So
I think it's strange too, because with anxiety, like you've seen me at the Underground and stuff like that, and I'm usually like talking to everybody in the room and stuff, right? And I am I'm like that, but I have anxiety the entire time that I'm doing it. And a lot of people are like, are you on drugs or something? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just really good at fueling the anxiety and turning it into positivity. The funny thing is I have such anxiety in crowds and stuff. If I go to like Walmart, I've had panic attacks at Walmart. There's been times where I was at a show like down there and I've had panic attacks while I was there.
Oh my gosh.
And I just fought through it. But on stage, it doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
I get a little shaky. But other than that, at times whenever I start, but I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, okay, I haven't done this in a while. Let's just shake it off, have a drink real quick,
Yeah.
get on stage, and I don't feel the anxiety. But I have it whenever I'm in the crowd, so I don't
Yeah.
understand it. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, I'm a huge like social anxiety. Like people always make fun of me because they say there's no way you, and the same thing for you. People are like there's no way you hate going. I hate like if you see like when we do any of the big shows at the Underground or anything, like Tiffany will be out amongst the crowd. I will be in the podcast area looking through the glass.
Well, see, there's been times where I've gone to the Underground for a show or anything, and I go back to the radio station and pick up one of the
Yeah.
guitars in there and just write because, like, could I do that at home? Yeah, but really, it's like I don't. It's not that I don't like the person playing or anything like that. It's not that I'm not enjoying myself with that. It's just I'm having an anxiety moment
Yeah.
around so many people.
Gotta kind of step out.
And I got to step in the studio and kind of be in the corner, but then also it opens up the creative wall because like maybe I could have stayed at home and played,
Yeah.
but it's not the same as sitting in a radio station
Yeah.
playing when
Different
somebody else
vibe.
is playing behind you,
Yeah.
and it's a music venue. It just has a different vibe to
Yeah.
it, and it really works for me. But also, you know, sometimes I just go to a show and it's
Yeah.
anxiety. I don't want to talk.
Do you feel like your depression and your anxiety and some of the things you've been through, do you feel like that has kind of pushed you more into creating your own music as kind of an outlet for that? Or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually wrote probably one of the darkest, started writing one of the darkest songs I've ever written lately. And I think it was very freeing to get that out. I've also written some really happy songs lately too,
Yeah.
and that's helped too. And then a lot of, I was never much of a let's write a love song kind of guy. Like I had one song that I wrote that I play pretty much every time I do because it's like probably the best song I've ever written so far. But this past year and a half, you know, I haven't really gotten in a consistent relationship with somebody after my divorce and everything, but I've been dating, and it's kind of given me the inspiration to write more like love type songs, and so I've been doing that a little bit too, and all of those things are kind of really really good.
That's what I think the big key to it is. I think my key to like making sure I don't have a mental breakdown is just kind of getting it out and either talking about it or, for in your instance, writing a song about it.
See, my thing is I'm a very philosophical person, so a lot of things like so I give myself a lot of affirmations and stuff like that too, like, with like quotes and different philosophies and stuff. But for me, like, the fake it till you make it thing, I don't think that works. I think I'm very good at it. I think I'm pretty dang good at it. But it doesn't work, so you have to have a creative outlet.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you do that and you're not talking to people and you bottle it up, and then that's when it gets worse. That's when you start hating yourself. And then when you start hating yourself, it's like a virus. You start hating everybody around you. You start resenting the people because then you hate yourself so much to a point that you're telling yourself, you let these people hurt you. So then you start hating other people, and then eventually you start hating the world.
Yeah, that's what Tiffany and I used to have this conversation. I used to be really bad about, I would get upset and it would always be, look at what this person is doing to me. Look at this person making me feel
But how
this
are you
way.
reacting to it?
Exactly. That is exactly the
Right.
So it wasn't look at what those people were doing to me. It was look at how I'm letting those people make me feel. But it was me letting myself feel that way.
That was kind of one of the freeing things about the divorce for me was, I felt a darkness for a long time. It was very happy in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I got so good at faking it till I made it. That nobody realized that I wanted out. I even lied to myself for a long time, and we became very different people. And things like that, and there was a lot of resentment back and forth and things like that, and I think I have this issue. I don't know what it's actually medically called, but what I call it is hero syndrome. I have this issue where
I feel like you need to save somebody.
I have to jump in and save the day and then start a relationship around it. And that's what I did when I was, that I'm not gonna get into her life and stuff like that. But at that time, like, she went through a lot of stuff that I'm like, gotta save the day,
because
and
you're
then,
raised as a man and you're taught that chivalry is the way to be, and
so I think it took me until about a year ago to realize that, like, even like the casual dating I was doing here and there, I was like, I'm trying to save people, and like that you can't do that if you want to like love somebody, or even just have a little fun with somebody. You have to put that to the side. Like, you can still help people, but like don't try to mix it with feelings.
Don't build your entire relationship based on, hey, I can help this person,
right? And I help people all the time. At least I try to. Like, a lot of people make jokes now. So I have a roommate currently. She moved in recently, Sherry. Best friend. Everybody's always like, you guys. No, she sleeps on my couch. We have conversations and stuff throughout the day or whatever, but we don't, it's not like that. It's icky for me.
But it's nice to have that female perspective and that someone there to talk to.
Right. But so I'm helping her out because she had some things she was going through, and even down to I'm mediating a friend's child custody. Right now, because the state can't provide somebody for them. So every 2 weeks, I'm about to be sitting in and watching my friend's ex play with the kids, and I'm like,
that is so you and I are very alike in that. So whenever I finally learned that I can say no to people and not like, hey, sometimes I don't have to be involved in things, that was a freeing experience to me. But I also understand that, like, if I can help people, I will do it.
And I mean, I did. I'm happy that Keith finally brought me on to Notes for Hope last year, because I was helping for a long time, and then with my marriage and stuff, like, I kind of stopped for a couple years there. But Keith let me. I was like, hey, dude, I know that the roster is full for this year's Notes for Hope, which was last year, so I can't really play. What else can I do? I'm like, do you want me to like get on stage and like host or something? And I was having fun with the podcasting and stuff, and I was like, I really like being on the damn mic. So
you just carry one around in your truck now, so you can talk on the mic. Also, just carry one around while you're driving.
And like, I think you probably saw me at Notes for Hope last year. Like, I was up and down stage all day. I ended up playing anyway because a band didn't show up. I was helping Jason and Keith with different stuff all around the place. I went upstairs and did the interview with Tippy and Joe. So I was everywhere. And I look forward to it next month.
That's such a cool event. When is that?
September.
So for those of you who don't know, Notes for Hope is, you want to tell a little bit about what Notes for Hope is?
So Notes for Hope is an organization that Keith and his wife Tiffany started. It would have been 10 years ago.
And it's a
suicide prevention and mental health awareness foundation surrounded by music. Music is the primary, the driving force to the primary goal, which is those two things. Sorry, I was looking up the Notes for Hope date. So what we do, which Keith is way better at explaining it than me because it's his organization for the most part. I'm a part of the board now, and I'm like the host every year. But I'll look it up later.
We'll post it in the description.
So it's in September, though. It's early September. I remember that. There's too many things going on up here.
There's a lot of stuff.
Because I also have 2 shows coming up next month, too. But I look forward to that. But the event, the organization itself is basically the goal is to put on shows and things like that to raise money and awareness and stuff like that. And then the goal is to do the projects like Music Speaks, where they gave out a guitar and stuff last year to a kid that could have used it. And things like that. That saves people's lives more than you realize it.
That saved your life, right? Music kind of saved your life.
Exactly. And so doing different things like that. Eventually, you know, we want to do more events than just the one once a year. We, you know, me and Keith have talked back and forth about doing different things like emo nights, like you know, every couple months or whatever, to raise some money and things like that. You know, different events across the street that are completely different than just a concert. You know, which we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But you know, and using those things to help kids, you know, get music lessons, things like that, or you know, even with like therapy and stuff. But we also try to get information out there too. It's not just about the music and everything like that. And we've even talked about doing like support groups and stuff where it's like a musician based support group.
That's really
you know,
cool.
like come here and watch us jam or jam with us or whatever, you know, and then we'll also like sit around like an AA meeting, talk about like you know, what happened this week and why do you feel this way, whatever, and then we'll get into music and stuff afterwards. So we've thought about that. It's really just trying to pinpoint timing and stuff.
That's what I think what you guys are doing is a cool thing, because like the things you're talking about, in my opinion, the thing that probably saves more lives in mental health situations than anything is community. Whether it be your friends around you or a group of musicians you jam with, the community that's around you can really lift you up out of that darkness.
That's another goal of the organization too, is to try to keep it local as well.
Awesome.
You know, which, I mean, national... We want to get the awareness out there nationally, but there's already a lot of organizations doing that, and we're not there anyway. You know, so we try to keep everything in the community too, as far as like, you know, the
it's nice when
econ and stuff like that. You know, like the commerce and stuff like that. That stuff stays in the community too. Awesome. So, you know, I think that's encouraging for people to locally to come to us and want to be a part of it or want to learn something or something like that, because you know, we're also helping the community too, or we're trying to. That's definitely at least part of what we're trying to get across.
Like I said, I think it's a great event, and I think it's got a great cause, and I think anything that is for mental health awareness and suicide prevention.
Well, and it's like you said too, it's community. So we're trying to build a community. We're not just, you know, trying to spread this word or that word. We're trying to build a community to help spread the word together and to help save a life.
Well, and that's, I think places like the Underground save so many lives, because you've got kids at home who don't have a great home life.
You know how much I would have killed to have had that place right down the street from where I graduated? If that place would have opened 10 years sooner, 12 years sooner, I would have been walking from school to play a show and then walking home. I would have, there wasn't even no time for dinner beforehand. I would have been straight from school to the Underground.
Oh yeah, dude. It's such a cool place, and it's neat that kids get that opportunity, and they're so welcoming to everybody. So
yeah, absolutely. And I love what they're doing down there, and Jason and everybody down there is great people. I don't have anything bad to say about any of them.
Oh yeah.
I hope they don't have anything bad to say about me, but you never know. But you know, they're great. It's awesome getting to go down there and hang out. I haven't been down there as much. You would think
as soon as you move into town,
I move right around the block. Literally, I'm right around the block now, and I haven't been able to go, but it's mainly because I'm broke.
Oh, that's how it goes, man.
I am probably the most financially unstable I've ever been right now. And it's in the worst economy we've ever had.
I think there are a lot of people probably in that same situation right now.
And that's really it with me. Like I got off work like a half hour before I came here.
Same thing.
Like I went home, threw on some clothes, came here.
This is the clothes I wore to work today.
I almost didn't do that, but I was like, I have at least enough time to look camera decent, I guess.
Well, man, I really, really appreciate you coming and sitting down and talking with me. So what we like to do on these is we kind of keep them to about 35, 45 minutes, but what we always talk about is like having guests back at some point. Because what I like to do is kind of see where you're at now, and then maybe a few months from now talk again and be like, hey, anything new you've been going through? Anything you've been...
I think by the next time I'll probably have a band.
Nice. That's exciting.
Hopefully already have released some stuff. I will be launching my solo podcast here soon.
That'll be super cool.
I'm still working out some ideas with that. I still haven't 100% decided what I'm doing with it, but I
Yeah.
know what I'm doing, or that I know that I am doing it.
Yeah.
So I'll have my solo podcast too.
Nice.
I'm actually just gonna do that one at home. I'm just gonna chill
dude.
in my bedroom.
So I honestly, so we've got this space here, but I have an office at home that I've done up just in case I ever want to shoot episodes there. And I'm like, this is easy. I can shoot a podcast here.
Right. So yeah, hopefully that. I look forward to the Pop Punk Pizza Party podcast, our production and our organization and things. We're growing with that, and then we have Pop Punk AF, which is the company that umbrellas our podcast. Me and Keith started. We started a lifestyle brand.
Nice.
We're trying to sell merch and stuff through that, and we're talking about different things like doing a magazine and doing a comic book strip and stuff like
That's
that
cool.
with it. So we have a whole website and everything. We're
Dude,
just
that's awesome.
trying to find time and money to do this and that. So
Yep.
a lot of cool shit to
That's
look forward
super
to.
cool.
I'm gonna try to do a comedy set in a couple months.
Dude, I'm excited. So I've been talking about doing that for real. Whenever you decide you're gonna do that, let me know. I've been working on material. I might jump up there. Like if you're gonna do it, like I'm down.
Oh hell yeah!
So
That'd be cool.
That way, because I'm always like, it's way less scary. Like if you got friends who are going up also.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'd totally be down.
Hell yeah.
So, but man, like I said, is there anything you'd like to tell everybody out there?
Two things. One, my catchphrase: find your voice, it will set you free. Find the voice that you have, whatever it is that tells your story, whether it's your actual voice or whatever you're trying to convey your emotions through,
A
whether it
podcast,
be art,
music,
podcast,
yeah.
music, whatever it is. Find your voice, it will set you free. It really will.
I do agree with that 100%.
And then also, just reach out. Always reach out. No,
You're not burdening anyone.
it's okay to not be okay.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
that's
100%.
that was the big thing that we said last year for Notes for Hope. It's okay to not be okay, and it really is.
It is.
I'm not okay right now during this interview. Not because of the interview, but at this point in my life, I'm not okay right now.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. I'll be okay.
Yeah, you could do it. That's the thing. So something my grandma used to always say. So I had a cousin who committed suicide at 15 years old, and at the time I was 17 or 18. And my grandma, I remember this sticking out in my head. She said, "I wish she would have known that it always gets better."
Yeah.
So if you're in your lowest, darkest point, just know that it always gets better.
Life ain't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain.
That's exactly right, man.
That's it right there,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah. We're gonna go to Hobby Lobby after this. We'll pick you up one of those signs for sure.
Man, I got them all day. I got them all
one in
day.
every room.
I got them all day.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Struggle Street.